What's up, guys? Today I've got another video. Yeah, I know, pretty recent, back to back. Very surprising. But I felt like I should do one, so I did. We have got Civilization Restart, and before I actually get into the video, I want to go on my layer 6 here. This new country, I really forgot to do a bunch of stuff with it, so I need to decide the capital and the ideology. First of all, I'm just going to immediately get rid of oligarchy, because I don't really want an oligarchy. These guys got an oligarchy, good enough. And I'm kind of wanting to do a democracy. Also, I'm realizing now that I forgot to give Greece a ideology. So here we have Greece being bubble. But yeah, all the countries around them are, like, democracies. I think that's what purple is. No, democracy is blue. All the countries around them are monarchies. But that means that I got rid of the oligarchy. So now we're just left with 3 rulers who want their own control. I'm tempted to combine these 2 kings, you know. But I think this country is going to be ahead of its time, and it's going to introduce democracy into... Oops, that's purple. It is going to introduce democracy into Europe, and hence it's going to be a democracy. And the candidates are going to be the main oligarch, the autocrat, the monarch, and the other monarch. Also, I'm realizing now that Israel has 2 things, and nope, you don't have that one anymore. Also, I did give Lime Team their capital back, and I made them a monarchy. So yeah, but we've done that, and okay, yeah, that is. Now we've got to decide the capital. First of all, Canada this, Germany got that from the people. Still baffling while I was singing to give Germany land there, but they lost a bunch of valuable land, so sure. And next I'm also going to remove this, because if we go on trade routes, we see like it's very out of everywhere. Speaking of trade routes, I do actually want to customize that, because they're just going to just go across. They realize it's been too complicated, everything they've been doing. Like, in this massive area, I'm going to go to the closest place. So yeah, they just did a straight line through it, and they even connected this town to it. That's pretty helpful. And also here, but that's... yeah. Also, these guys, they still don't have trade routes wrapped. This is because this is like the main trade routes. Now, obviously, there is routes people here go across to trade, because they still do need to trade. But it isn't just part of the main, like, Silk Road, if you will. And, like, these people, they're being assimilated and they're trading, but they're not part of this main thing. So, yeah. Also, I realise now I probably should fill in that area. So we also see that the green team, to make it up for what they did to the gold country, gives them their own trader, and gold country also just proceeds to do that. But yeah, some trade routes are fixed. But anyway, that's not why I came here for. We came here for the capital. So yeah, we either got to pick one of these, and I'm leaning to this one. Hence I'll remove that one. So that is the new capital, and now I've got all that funny business sorted out. Let's get into the actual video. Alright, so we're going to start this video out with Israel attacking into Somalia. Because after Israel, like, came out of this big, like, war, you know, the Great War, they've been on, like, a high. Like, they've gone all of this land. Well, not all of that, but, like, they got, like, a good chunk of land here, and they got North Africa, they got Sicily and Malta, and they got an ally here. Well, not like an official ally, but like they're aligned. And they're feeling pretty good. So they're like, you know what, we're just going to keep this train going, and maybe if we get strong enough, we can take over all of Africa. So basically, the plan is invade into Somalia, quickly take it over, start a war with these guys while they're still weak and recovering, invade into Iberia there, quickly take over this area, because it will take too long for them to get forces. They'll just steamroll through, then they'll get this bit, and then they'll join with Egypt. That's the plan. So they start, and they quickly, like in a matter of days, they take over the capital of Somalia, as their forces are just too much for Somalia to take. And along with this, and along with taking the capital city, they also start sending in forces over here, as they also quickly take that major city. But after losing these two major cities, strangely, Somalia hasn't seemed to lost hope yet, and they actually start trying to push back for their capital. And along with this, they also send a few forces over here, but it really does nothing, as after seeing Somalia continue fighting, they reinforce these front lines, they reinforce the major cities, and they get Somalia well away from their capital. Like, there's like hardly any chance of them being able to near that. But now they have, like, managed to do that, they're like, oh, you want to keep fighting, huh? And they go for this city. So by now, the entire border that Israel shares with Somalia has been taken over and invaded by the forces. And this isn't good for Somalia, because now they can focus on going down here, as they make a spearhead even, straight for Lake Victoria, swiftly take it, taking Somalia's third major city. This thing by now, they're obviously going to surrender. I mean, like, we've easily defeated them. We've still got a bunch of power left. They're obviously not going to try and fight back. And then we can start preparing to fight against the European powers. But they don't. Instead, Somalia fights and actually takes back this major city. If we go here, actually take back the major city. Also, yeah, the major city is there. That's where the other one. Oh, there's actually a major city there as well. Damn. And they also start trying to push up to try and save that major city, and also in hopes of capturing their capital back again. And while Israel encircles these troops, making their forces dwindle, as they also head back down, something unexpected happens, and it comes as a real shock to them. And this is that Iberia joins the war. And they attack from the north, as they have had enough. They have seen Israel constantly push people around, demanding Sicily in the treaty, saying they're going to invade everyone, just because they're massive and definitely by far the strongest country on earth. Like, I should say it's Israel, just because they invest a bunch into their military. Then I'd probably say India, because they don't invest as much, but they are pretty strong. Then North China. Then Britain, or England. And then probably South China. So they still take first place. But if we're talking allies, then India's the most politically strong, having all of this. But anyway, so we see that they start to get invaded by Iberia as they head for the north, taking over, like, this Algerian section and Tunisia, as they take two major cities right off the bat, and they also take over all of their claims in Sicily. Now, they aim for these two cities in this one, and they're going to start with this one, and then they go down to that one. So they continue taking all of these counties on the edge as they start nearing the North African major city. But Israel was quick to send their forces up. They had some spare ones just in case they got attacked. You never know. And they quickly start pushing Iberia back, and Iberia realizes the flaw in their logic, and realizes this isn't going to go well. But using this opportunity, Somalia fights back, guaranteeing all of Lake Victoria is back under their control. as they also reconnect with their, encircled troops, and start pushing to get their capital back, as they even encircle these troops, taking back a major city, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, they just barely managed to get it back. And whilst Israel sends forces from here down into Somalia to protect Somalia's capital for their own control, they continue pushing Iberia back, and they think, okay, Iberia's made a big mistake here. Iberia tries to invade from the south as well, thinking, oh, maybe it'll go better. But Israeli forces also quickly come and start to put a stop to that, and it's not looking too good. But alas, we see that the Turks actually want revenge. After all, their empire did collapse because the Israelis attacked them. So they quickly take this entire coastline as they near the capital, starting to encircle it and get a grip around it, as they take a lot of this very valuable land and very historic land to Israel. And Israel is not happy. So they call for their allies, and if we go on the ally map, that is not the ally map. If we go on the ally map, we see that they are allies with Egypt and this country down here. This country down here, hell no, they're not getting involved in that. They don't want to be punished. They're on a high right now. They've got the most fun they've ever had. Egypt, though, they will happily join. They don't see anything they can lose here, because they're we're obviously going to win. And they love the Israelis. So thanks to the Egyptian forces, the Turks are pushed back. But the Turks aren't the only ones who have decided that they want some of their old territory from the Israelis. As we also see that Kokistan decides that it would probably be a good time for them to push down. So they start taking land very quickly, as they even trap all of this bit here and call it their own as their troops invade and meet up with the Turks. But they're not fighting because they're on the same side. And it looks like everyone, after the coalition against these two, looks like everyone has agreed, yeah, let's go for Israel next. Because they want to topple all the big powers. They toppled Caspia, they toppled Rome, they toppled Germany. And now all that's left is India, North China, and South China, I guess, to an extent. But North China, South China, and India all aren't doing bad with their power. They're just strong. Also, where all the drama is, they're not really there. So they don't really do much. But next we see that down here in this little island, Britain takes control from Iberia, as they decide that they want to push. And as we see that Britain decides to navally invade into Israel, taking over all of this coastline, which is very valuable to them, as it is very close to the Somalian major city, and it's also close to this major city. And the British go across and they cut off the Israeli troops and kill all of the ones that were against this Iberian force, allowing Iberia to do what they had planned to before they start getting attacked here, and that is push even further up. And they also connect up with their British brethren as they start to push into Israel, their own, as they also start taking more land from the north, and they actually get further this time, capturing the North African capital. Well, the old North African capital, now just a major city there. Which they then start getting pushed a bit back by Egypt, but they eventually reach a stalemate. And we see that Israel has to pull out a lot of their troops from Somalia, allowing Somalia to make a giant breakthrough, not yet getting Israel anywhere to where they can actually invade, but Israel is very close to losing a bunch of land here. And they've been pushed back a bunch. But this is so that they can use their troops to invade into other countries. And we see this by the fact that they move all these troops north. they want to get Iberia out of the war fast. They're one of the stronger countries they're attacking. Sure, on their own they're not very strong, but with the help of the British, they are definitely strong. And they know they can't push back the British fleet down here unless they decide to send all of their troops down here. But that would leave their capital undefended from these guys, and they can't let that happen. So their goal is to push into Iberia, make them surrender, and then go for Britain, using all of these troops. Plus Britain will be worn out by then. So they take all of Iberia, and we see that thanks to this lessening of troops, Somalia goes and they fight a battle for their capital. But unfortunately for them, they do lose, and they get pushed back even further than they were before. And we see that Britain continues pushing into Israel, and eventually meeting up with the border of Somalia. And once there, all of the Israeli troops surrender, finally giving Somalia back some of their land as they use this as an opportunity. And yeah, it's all kind of collapsing on Israel. But meanwhile, while they're getting rid of Iberia, they also send some of their troops north, as they decide they've had enough of the Ottomans and the Caucasians, Caucastani, how would you pronounce it? And they separate their front line, while fiercely pushing them back. And, yeah, this doesn't go well, because now that the Turks are being pushed back far, Greece doesn't want this to happen, so they send their forces straight into North Africa's capital. And, yeah, that's not good for Israel, because now they've got a whole other country they have to worry about, a whole other front, and if they could meet up by Iberia, that would be deadly, as then they couldn't focus on taking over Iberia. But anyway, the border of Israel is met by the Greeks, as the Greeks now start to push into Egypt, taking a lot of their borders with Israel, as they need a capital. And Egypt realized they have to pull out like a bunch of troops from over here, allowing the Turks to get their footholding again and surround the capital. And the Egyptians realize that they're going to have to do something that they really don't want to do. But it's the only way they can really survive. So unfortunately, they're going to have to take this bit of their old land from Israel, as after crossing over, they also take Cairo. Or, not Cairo. They take this, bit of land. They really didn't want to have to invade Israel, but they needed this land to get resources so that they could fuel their troops to push the Greeks back. As I would say, Greece is probably stronger, but they are sending their troops across the sea, while Egypt is fighting in their homeland, and they definitely know it more. But anyway, that's going to be all for today. I hope you guys enjoyed, and goodbye.